What's up, YouTube? So it's time for that Monday fitness check-in. I can say I'm feeling way better than I did last week. Last week, my mood was a little bit shot. I think that had to do with a lot of things. One, I talked about this a lot in my live stream, but that ended up going on for 2 hours, so I might be reiterating some stuff that people heard in the live stream last night. But basically, I decided I needed to get out of Berkeley. It was really hurting my mood, and I think it's because, to me, Berkeley is being trapped. So, like, if I just need to stop over, grab some mail, and then my life is mine, it's one thing, but that hasn't been my experience. Berkeley, the Berkeley, Oakland, sort of San Francisco area, more Berkeley and Oakland, because that's usually where I am. And my home address is in Berkeley. Because of that, because it's where work has sort of kept me sort of locked, it can feel very cagey when I can't leave because of obligations. There is a car part I'm waiting on that isn't going to come in until like this upcoming week. Now, the videos you're going to be seeing this week is actually stuff I filmed this past week. And you'll kind of get a hint of that when you look at my exercise videos from the week. You're going to see me all over the freaking place. And so I have some videos coming out this upcoming week, hopefully, from those locations, as well as I think one video I shot in Berkeley before I left. But I needed to get out of there. And so, you know, I went way out, not way, but like sort of further out than I intended. And I was like, really, the relief has just been getting away from Berkeley. And that was really killing my mood. But before I get into that, because now I've talked longer than I intended, let's look at how the week went. So, this week went way better. So, women have this little thing called a period, and it sucks. It can do all kind of crazy things to your body. There were days where I was cramping like crazy, and like, I'm probably like last week, I half, stepped through some exercise routines. I did it. I got the DVD player out. I pressed play. I popped a couple of pills. No, not like that, but just to get rid of the cramps. I waited a little while for the medicine to take effect, but like my mood was like shot. There's also water retention and bloating and like all kinds of annoying things that happen during a woman's period. And it's not just the actual days when, the cycle itself is presenting, for lack of a nicer way to say that. in the days before and days after, you can still be feeling these ill effects. And it can have, an effect on your mood. There can be, like I said, water retention, diarrhea, all kinds of things that can be connected to this thing that happens to our bodies every month. And for me, it varies. There are honestly months where the only thing that happens is the cycle itself happens. I get a couple of cramps. I pop, some pain pills, and move on with my life. And then it goes away for another month. But as we get older, also things change. Like, I had no cramps my entire teenage years. I had no physical effects from my period beyond it happening for all of my teenage years. And then I was in college and I was in this pain, and I went to my mama and I'm like, Mama, what's going on? I'm having all this pain and I don't understand. And she's like, girl, you just got some cramps. And so as we get older, sort of how our period affects us can also change. So I don't know. I'm not saying that was the reason. All I know is, I think it was a combo effect of the things that happen to women, the hormonal changes, the body things that happen to women during their period, and Berkeley. And the two of them combined to make me very miserable these past couple of weeks. So I said, I gotta go. So I left. Especially since I talked to my mechanic, and, he's like, yes, we should replace the part, but, as long as I'm not, heading, off-roading out in crazy town, I'll probably be fine just doing general driving until the part comes in, and then he can do the repair. So I was like, okay, you know what? I need to be somewhere that's not freaking Berkeley. And so I left Berkeley. I didn't go that far. Still in Northern California. And honestly, my mood has been better. It's been nice to, just seeing someplace different, being someplace different, and experiencing that newness. I've been trying to really focus on getting all of my steps in. As of right now, it's almost the end of the day, and I only have 8,698 steps, which is still better than I was averaging last week. Now, last week, a lot of people were giving me suggestions of places to walk. I'm literally in a park every day doing a DVD. I have all the places to walk. All I have to do is walk around the park I'm in. But I wasn't doing that. I was doing my DVD, I was closing the DVD player, and then I went back to my van. So it's not the problem of a place to walk, a location to walk. I just wasn't feeling mentally stimulated enough to care that I wasn't moving. I just wasn't feeling mentally stimulated enough to care. And so I just couldn't find the motivation to do what was fairly obvious, which was just, after the workout, if I really don't feel like walking right away, sit down in that exact spot for 10 to 15 minutes and then walk around the park that you're already in. Walk around, whatever you've stolen as your exercise place for the day. Make an active effort to walk in that place. And it's worked some days and failed some days, but it's better than last week. And I think that's the most important thing that I've emphasized through this whole thing is improvement. And the thing is, a lot of people, as soon as they sense that I'm failing, I feel like some people in the comments are jumping on that failure. I literally had people tell me last week and maybe the week before, that I was making excuses just because I was having this conversation. Right now, this DVD, this video I do every week to check in, it is my Overeaters Anonymous. It is my Weight Watchers meeting. I am doing these videos in place of that because that was something I needed on a weekly basis. And the one thing about that is you just go in a room and you talk about your struggles that week. And even people who succeed in huge ways had imperfect weeks. They had weeks where they didn't lose weight. They have weeks where they gain weight. If you are perfect, if you were in the comments and you started a weight loss journey and it was perfect for you the whole time and all you did was lose weight the whole time and you stuck with it for years, great. Most of us are not perfect. So I'm going to have weeks that are imperfect where I just need to talk about it. And like, I faced up to the fact that I was not my best last week. I don't think I was my best the week before that. At least not compared to sort of the focus I had when I first started. This is a long journey of change with a series of little changes. Because what I've learned from the past is the way to derail a journey is to try to have everything at the starting line. And then keep it consistent with no stumbles until the finish line. And when you try to do that, it's usually too much. Like when I gave up soda, I don't know how long ago now, I made no other demands on myself except to stop drinking soda. I could have been eating 5,000 calories a day because that wasn't the change I was trying to make. Yes, I wanted to change that other thing too further down the line. But my goal was stop drinking soda. So I did that. And then I had a goal, was like, you know what? I'm going to stop buying fast food. I'm only going to buy stuff from the grocery store that I have to prepare. Because I need to get out of the habit of relying on food places that are going to give me ready-made food. Like, I need to get out of that habit. Because I knew if I could get in the grocery store, then all I had to do was control what I was buying in the grocery store. But I wasn't going to try to make both steps happen at the same time. The first step was like, stop depending on fast food places. Stop going to 7-Eleven for meals. Because usually your meal then ends up being like a Snicker bar and like a can of Pringles and an energy drink, which is not a meal. And so it was okay at that point of that choice if I was buying bad stuff at the grocery store, bad, whatever you categorize as bad, because it was about transitioning to the habit of, I am going to prepare my own food. And then once I got past that, and that doesn't mean I wasn't moving towards the other step, I was the entire time, then it was like, okay, we've gotten out of buying, food that isn't food and living off that. We've stopped drinking soda, so we're not going to buy soda. We're not going to, buy certain things. We're going to get bubbly water instead of soda and get that from the supermarket and drink that instead. And so it became about these active choices that were small changes. And some people like to tell you you're not doing enough if you're not doing what they would do. And that doesn't mean don't give me suggestions. In fact, one of the best things I got from my video last week was somebody who understood, there was somebody who said, and this was a well-meaning suggestion, I have no problem with it. It was like, get out of your van every half hour. There's a lot of times where that's not possible, especially when I'm driving in a strange neighborhood, or I have something to do that's going to take an hour and a half. I'm not going to get out the van every half hour and walk around the van. Like, that's just not going to happen. Now, I could say, I have to break from this task in an hour and a half. And sometimes, I can spend a half hour just trying to get myself set up for a task. Like, sometimes it takes me a half hour to transfer files from the phone to the tablet so I can edit it. And I haven't even started editing yet. So it's not going to happen that I'm going to get up out into the van every half hour. That's just not going to happen. So it was a reasonable suggestion, but it also wasn't realistic, and it's not something I'm actually going to do. Whereas I'm already in the park. I'm already in the wherever I went to exercise. That footage is part of my YouTube channel, so I'm going to be driven to go there. At the very least, I can motivate myself by saying, you know what, I'm going to need this footage for the week. And so that helps, makes me go when nothing else is making me go. And once I get there, I'm already in a place I can walk. Like today, when I went to the beach, I parked 1.5 miles from the beach, and I knew I wanted to go to the beach. And so it took me 1.5 miles to get there. It took me 1.5 miles to get back, which means I ended up taking a 3-mile walk. Might have been give or take some miles. And so, like, and I was carrying heavy crap. Because I took a chair, and I took my canopy, and I took all this stuff to the beach, and it was really hard trudging through sand and that stuff. But anyway, that was sort of a realistic way to make myself walk, because somebody in the comments last week was like, I don't know about you, but I do better when I have a goal of a place to be. I can't just walk aimlessly. And I can have the same problem a lot of the time. Like, if it's like, oh, I gotta go to the grocery store, let me walk to the grocery store instead of driving to the grocery store. I used to do that a lot in Oregon, especially because my car was parked in a safe place. Now, when I'm parking in strange neighborhoods, I don't like to do that as much, especially when I don't really know the area. Like, I'm going to go to the parking lot of the business I'm trying to get to. But if I can get myself in a situation where I can choose to park, like, 1.5 miles away, and I'm not worried about sort of, like, returning with something that's going to be really, really heavy, like, that sort of is something that I can actively do. So it's really just a way of figuring out a way to apply that every week. So that was a really good, yes, I'm like that too. And yes, that is something that I could change. And so, yeah, one, walking into a goal to get somewhere. But also, two, if that's not an option, using the space I'm using for exercise to at least get more steps in than I would get in otherwise. Even if it's just like, even if I come up short of my steps, just like doing the video every day is an assignment. If it's like, I really think I might accidentally end up like really absorbed in video editing for an entire day. Well, this is what I can do. I'm in a park, let me walk around the park twice. I'm near a lake, let me walk around the lake once, depending on like the length of the lake and like sort of how much time I think my other tasks of the day are going to take. And that is something I can actively do. And another suggestion I got was, I don't remember the exact wording of the suggestion, but was really great, was this idea of giving myself something to listen to that's stimulating, even if the environment isn't stimulating. So let's say I'm in boring town, USA, and there's really nothing exciting about going on a walk. There's nothing interesting I'm going to see, and there's nowhere to go that's interesting. Like, I wanted to go to the beach today, and so the beach was a goal to get to, and then of course, once I got there, I had to get back from it. And so finding a way to park 1.5 miles away from the beach and then walk to the beach created a 3-mile walk, which is great. But let's say I don't have that. Well, that I could use a podcast or an audiobook to make that walk more interesting. And I got that through a comment from last week. And so I think sometimes people, they look at my thumbnail, they don't actually listen to the whole video, and then they start throwing out unrelated suggestions, which sometimes aren't helpful. Now, sometimes people just don't hear what I say. They hear what they thought I said. And so that can be frustrating. Or they see the thumbnail. I have people, one, reply to the thumbnail, or two, hear what they want to hear, even if they watch the whole video. But even with that, honestly, I still get really good ideas sometimes from the comment section. So I do appreciate those. I even appreciate the comments that won't work for me for whatever reason. I.e., people suggest competitions. I'm not competitive. I'm just really not. Like, I'll be the person who's like, you know what? I'm not going to win, but I'll get over the finish line. And I could be the last person to come in, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't win. I'm the person when everybody's getting upset about the board game, I'm like, guys, it's just a game. Like, I'm just not competitive. So things that rely on that competitive spirit, like, they're just not going to work for me. I'm more like, I don't want to be bored. So I can get excited playing a game with people I like, even if I lose. It's just like, oh, I'm around people I'm like, we're playing a game, and it's fun. Winning or losing is so much for me. It's about like, oh, I'm having a positive social experience. Maybe that's why I don't like watching sports, because I used to like play with my male cousins. I used to like play baseball and football with my male cousins, and I understood the basic rules, but I never got into watching it. And I think it's because like when you're watching it, you have to invest in who's winning, and when you're playing it, you can just enjoy playing it. I don't know. This is a very boring video, but yeah, that's basically how it is. Oh, weight update. This is so super excited about this. I stepped on the scale today, and it was kind of wavering, but I am down to 300 pounds. It did hit 299 and then it went back to 300. I weighed myself 3 times. And so I'm going to say I'm at 300 pounds because it hit that twice and then it went down to 299 point something at one point. So I'm definitely at the 300 pound line. I really wanted to leave Oregon having broken 300 pounds. Assuming I do well this upcoming week, hopefully when I'm stepping on that scale next week, it'll be under and not over or even on 300 pounds. I know most people would be like, oh my God, I'm 300 pounds. Dude, I was heading up, if I had done nothing, I think I'd be headed to the 350s right now. So the fact that I've reversed that and there's a possibility I could be back in the 200s by next week, makes me feel good. Makes me feel motivated to continue forward. I do want to get back to where I was, which wasn't my ideal weight. It was just smaller than I am now. And so that's the path that's important for me. And then if I get back to where I was, then maybe I can focus on a new goal weight. But I'm not going to move the goalpost until I get back there. So right now, I'm trying to get back in the 250s. And I'm not going to move the goalpost until I'm back in those 250s, which, is another 50 pounds to get there. But I'm feeling good about that. I'm feeling positive about the experience. And this wasn't a really exciting video, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you next week.